What's up, everyone? Michael Heath with Get Automating. I asked my kids what they want for dinner the other day. Said, pizza from Target, okay? Yeah, that's great. They weren't paying attention, doing whatever they do, just telling me yes. I go up, plop the pizza in the oven, plop it on the table. Kids come up. Oh, we don't want that. We want Papa John. I was hot. Put my foot down, said, all right, you kids are going hungry, not fixing anything else. Fortunately, when it comes to communicating with applications, it's a little bit easier. That's what we're going to talk about today, specifically how we can use API calls in Power Automate Desktop to reach out to those applications and inject them into our flows. Yeah, I'm kind of a sucker. I put the chicken nuggets in the oven.
Get Automating, enhancing humans daily.
All right, so we've explored APIs and Power Automate Cloud, but what about Power Automate Desktop? So think about the scenario. You're automating a legacy app, no APIs in or out, but yet you want to pull data from other applications that do have an API. Well, I've got an answer. We can make those API calls within Power Automate Desktop. Let's take a look. All right, so we're in Power Automate Desktop here. The first thing we want to do is connect to our data. So we're going to type HTTP in our search bar. And what we're looking for here is Invoke Web Service. A little bit different here, but this is the guy that should now look really familiar. So we're going to hop back over to our Jelly Belly API, and that's what we're going to use to get our data. Paste our Jelly Belly URL and endpoint beans in there. We've got the get method, no custom headers, no request body for this. We can move along. We've got some advanced features here that we're not going to use today, but in the variables produced, we oftentimes don't need the HTTP headers to be saved as variables. We do want that web service response. That's important. And sometimes you might want a conditional statement on the status code if it did complete, if it was successful or not. So we'll keep that one on there for now. All right, so running it right now gives us back our web service response and our status code. If we crack this guy open, we can see that we have our response right here. It's rather lengthy. If we copy and paste this out, it's going to fill up a page, but we're going to do a little bit more with that. And just as we parsed it out in Power Automate Cloud, we want to do the same thing within Power Automate Desktop. So we're going to come over here and we're going to look for convert. And what we're going to do is convert that JSON response to a custom object. This is simple as pulling in the variable of the web service response right into the body of the JSON field. All right, now if we run this bad boy, we can see JSON as a custom object. We have our return, scroll down, we see our items, click on more, and now we have our beans. So what we want to do is start to use this information inside of our flow. And so we need to grab specific parts of that data. So I'm going to illustrate this, just how to get down to the item level at least, and you can follow suit from there. So for this demonstration, I'm just going to use the display message action. So we're going to bring this over right here. All right, and so the message we want to display is going to be JSON as a custom object. We want the items table, and then we want the second row, which is technically going to be the third item. So let's see what happens when we go ahead and click save here and run. All right, so there we have our data from the second row, which again, 0, 1, 2 is going to be bean 3. And here is all the data. From there, we can start parsing out additional data. We'll take it one more step here and use the split text just so you can see how we start to trim away and get to the data, the underlying data that we need. Text to split, again, we're going to pipe in that same expression here. So we're using the variable, we're pulling from that items table, and we're looking at the second item there. For the delimiter type, we're going to pick custom, and we're going to put our comma in there because that is the way our data is split. So we'll click save, and then we'll go ahead and run this. And here we have our text list. We have a little bit of cleanup that's needed, but otherwise we have a lot of this information that we can easily pull from if needed. Boom, baby. throwing it down with Power Automate Desktop. Once again, bringing in the API goodness to the desktop application. Understand that we don't have to go out to the cloud just to make API calls. Let's do the work. If we're already in Power Automate Desktop creating a human synthetic transaction, we got to scrape, and when we didn't just make an API call, let's just do it in Power Automate Desktop. Easier than figuring out what your kids want for dinner. Till next time, get automating.